What's up, everybody? It's your boys at Coach Potatoes, Anthony, TJ, and Ben, back at it again for episode number 9. It's October 30th. It's a Tuesday night. So tonight we're going to get into a few different topics, actually, a little bit more of a spread. We got some UFC action coming up with Daniel Cormier and Derek Lewis as the main event on Saturday. We're going to talk a little bit of NBA G League, spice it up a little bit. Then we'll talk a little bit, well, not a little bit, we'll talk a lot of it about all the NFL trade stuff that happened today with the trade deadline. And then just NFL action like we always do, recap last week, and preview and give our picks for the coming week. So let's kick it off with the UFC stuff. Obviously, big headliner with DC defending the heavyweight belt against Derek, the Black Beast, Lewis. Me and Bill for a little bit of fanboys for Lewis, gotta say, especially after his post-fight antics, because he is a legend just for that alone.
His balls was hot.
But they're the headliner. A couple other good fights still on the undercard. It's not like incredibly stacked, but there's a few other ones that are at least intriguing that I'd like to pay attention to. So Bill's going to run through the card. We'll talk about the ones that interest us and kind of give our predictions on what we think is going to happen.
Yeah, so start off the main card. We got Derek Brunson versus Israel Adesanya. Then there's Carl Robertson versus Jack Marshman. Stan Marshman. Then there's David Branch versus Jared Cannonier. I hope he's French.
A lot of accents happening tonight.
There's Chris Weidman, Ronaldo Souza, who's replacing Luke Rockhold. And then Daniel Cormier and Derek Lewis. So right off the bat, you're starting off with a bang. Israel Adesanya is someone I've been looking at. He's new, not a newcomer. They had about 3-4 fights in. He's won. He's undefeated.
He's a good fighter. Derek Brunson's no slouch, though. He
is not. Brunson's definitely one of those Yo Romero, Tyron Woodley, just thick boys.
He thick AF. That's for sure.
He AF. He did get knocked out, though. His last fight, Israel is a striker. I'm going with Israel in this one.
I'm going to agree with you. I've watched Adesanya's last couple of fights. This boy's got some hands.
He does.
I don't know if he'll finish him. Granted, I know Brunson just got knocked out, but I feel like I'm going to give Brunson a little more credit. I think he takes unanimous.
Okay. Yeah, you're going to lose a game of pat kick to Israel. Sorry. We're going to be blatantly honest. We have no knowledge of Carl Robertson or Jack Marshman.
Yeah, no.
I know David Branch. He's pretty. I guess I would take Branch just because I know I'll take the Homer, I guess, just because he's a known product. I don't know anything about Jared Cannonier.
I'm in the same boat. I don't know. You're putting a big, heavy French accent in here for a guy that we don't really know if he's like super French or anything.
Does it say where he's from on there, Bill?
But I mean, I feel like you just read the screen and tell if I said it on there. But you're like, oh, I don't know.
Oh, he's from the U.S. Cannonier.
Who knows? I'm going to go with Branch as well.
Could it just be Kinnear?
Kinnear?
Could it?
Well, because it's like Cannon, I-E-R.
Be a stretch.
Yeah, probably not.
We're going to go with Cannonier.
I like it. And then Chris Weidman versus Ronaldo Souza. I think I understand short notice. I think Weidman got the short end of the stick there. I think Jacare is way more diverse than Rockhold. He's got hands, but even if he just overwhelms you there, what's wrong with hands?
He's just waiting to be like, oh, so if he didn't have any hands, then
Like, he does have hands in front of you. See, I mean.
just fucking lob that one up for him.
Well, I don't think they would let him fight if he didn't have hands. That'd be cruel and unusual punishment.
Oh.
You said that of yourself for that.
Wow.
God.
But if you take Jacare down, you're in for some trouble. So I'm going Jacare, even on a short notice.
Yeah, I'm in agreement. He's too diverse. He's too good stand-up. He's got excellent ground game. I think Weidman's very one-dimensional.
He's got... I mean, you can always pull that, he knocked out Anderson Silva.
I don't care.
But he does have his wrestling. I think he's more known for his wrestling, but you don't want to take Jacare.
Yeah.
I'm going Jacare.
Same.
And then Cormier and Lewis.
Are you going with your heart or are you going with your brain? Because those are two very distinct options. That's basically what it is for both of you.
I treat this like I'm putting money down, even though I picked the Browns one. I'm going with Cormier. Lewis, God, love that man. But if Cormier can beat Rumble Johnson twice, Rumble was my boy, there's no way. I don't think Lewis has a shot, unfortunately. I mean, Cormier usually manhandles the people he fights in his takedowns. I'm not sure if he can do that with Black Beast, but I'm pretty sure he can topple him over and get him to the ground.
Yeah, I think DC's a big guy himself. He's not as big as Derek Lewis, but he's strong. I think he'll be able to at least wiggle a takedown in there. To give DC the credit, I mean, he did just knock out Stipe. Like, his stand-up's no, just joke either. He's not known for it, but he can throw. Yeah, I mean, I like the Rumble Johnson comparison because Rumble could actually kick as well. He had some pretty good kicking game, and Derek Lewis has no kicking game.
Yeah, Rumble is a scary man.
He's got right-hand game. That's Derek Lewis's game.
Yeah.
That's what he's got. And if he can't connect one, he done. And I don't think he's going to connect one on DC before DC can close the gap and at least get him into the clinch or do something like that. Do a little bit of dirty boxing or something. But I think DC takes it as much as, it pains me because I'd love to see Derek Black Beast Lewis as the champ. Heavyweight champ of the world.
Oh, my God.
That would be an interesting title reign.
Hilarious. But the other thing is, this is a 5-round fight. We saw how quick he gassed on a 3-round fight. So
he gets gassed in a minute fight.
Yeah.
If after he's out of the first minute, throws a couple of bombs, he's like, hopefully he did what he said he's going to do and has been doing some cardio. Because he's going to need it.
God, sad thing is he probably has more cardio than me. Easily.
Well,
my balls do still get hot. Next.
Hot balls.
Hot sweaty balls.
He had that carbon accent there. That's what it pass.
Sweaty balls.
World Series talk. So, one of us is very happy with this outcome. The Red Sox fan over here, Benjamin. It happened quicker than we thought it would. We both said the Red Sox were taking it 6.
I did think the Dodgers would win more games. Well, I mean, I guess I would say they technically won 2 because they won an 18-inning game. But
I agree.
They technically played 6, right? They
Yeah,
played an extra game worse than baseball. So.
I mean, the Red Sox were the best team in baseball. They were just, I mean, when you're getting production from Steve Pearce like you were, and you got him for cash at the deadline.
Yeah.
I mean, Betts didn't play that great in the World Series. He hit the home run in the clinching game, but other than that, I think he was 0 for every game he played.
Yeah, he was quiet.
But they've just been known, at least the postseason, for timely hits. I mean, you had Jackie Bradley tie the game, you had Pierce tie the game, you had 2 home runs off Kenley Jansen. And they won their games at home, and then I think the biggest surprise was Pierce deserved the MVP, but I was hoping personally that it was going to be a Pierce-Price co-MVP, like the first one since I think 2001 when Schilling and Randy Johnson won it. Because Price literally pitched his ass off for them, and I think no one expected it. So
he sucked a lot of dick in the postseason
until
this postseason.
Well, even his first start of this postseason, he was
Yeah.
awful. And then I think he'd mentioned it. He was in the bullpen in Houston, just warming up to come in relief, and he had figured something out just in his in his motion or whatever he was doing. And then ever since that point, he was just dominant. And then that was the one question for the Red Sox was could their bullpen be good and could they get anybody to start decent behind Sale? And they got both those from Price and Eovaldi, who both started and were dominant and came out of the bullpen and were dominant. So.
Eovaldi was clutch in that 18-inning game.
Yeah, even the game they lost, he pitched basically a 9-inning game and helped. It helped the Red Sox because they didn't have to. I knew that Eovaldi could pitch the next day, but they had blown through so many relievers so fast that Kimbrel had only pitched an inning, Brazier only pitched an inning, so they didn't have anyone that they stretched.
Yeah.
And then you can't say enough about. He doesn't get a lot of credit, but Eduardo Rodriguez came out the next day after pitching in that game in relief and then pitched 6 solid innings to give him a chance. So
yeah. Well, Kimbrel was not. He wasn't necessarily great in lights out, but he was much better than he was against Houston.
Yeah, he was better in the World Series. He was shaky in game? I guess in the game 3, 4. They went up 3-1. Game 4, he was shaky.
Yeah.
And I think they made the right decision. I think Cora saw that the series is going to be on the line, and I'm sure Kimball wanted to be out there, but it also was you knew Sale, if he won the game, Sale wasn't going to get to start a game that was technically his spot in the rotation. I think they just like Sale at home better, so he's going to pitch Game 6. I think Cora made the right call, and then obviously he went in there and struck out the side and just made Machado look silly. So I think they're the best team that they won all year, but we'll see what happens. They've got the guys have career years. Obviously Betts and Benintendi and JD Martinez are probably going to still be phenomenal next year. Bogarts keeps getting better. Second base is kind of weird because they'll probably get Pedroia back, so you're kind of old at that position with Kinsler and Pedroia and Holt. Like you don't really have Holt's kind of the guy. He's like the fan favorite. You got to keep him, but other teams are going to retool. And if Pierce doesn't have as good a year, or if Moreland doesn't have as good a year, can you re-sign Eovaldi? Does Price figure keep it going? So. I mean, it's not going to be easy to repeat. I think they'll have a good team going in next year. But, the Yankees and the Cubs and all those, with all the free agents, the Dodgers will still be there coming in next year. We'll see. But I think for once, in baseball, it happens more rarely where the team that necessarily doesn't have the best record doesn't win the World Series just because there's those teams crafted for 7-game series with 2 amazing starters. And
well, at the very least, the biggest productivity I could say that came out of the World Series is we developed a baseball Dodger fan. And
Yeah,
Bill. This
You're like
never watched baseball in his life.
Is that the first game you've ever attended? And it went 18 innings?
MLB game? No.
Oh, okay.
No, it was a lot of firsts. It was the first time in Dodger Stadium. Obviously, first World Series game. Not going to have that much money ever again. Jackie has favorite seats. And then, first Dodger game, first Red Sox game. Really, I went because my dad is a big Dodgers fan. So as soon as they won, when they beat the Brewers, like, we gotta go. Look at the price. Never mind. Prices dropped significantly. I don't know if it was because they started 0-2. I don't know if people hate LA. I have no idea. But they dropped over 50%. Called up my dad.
Probably just more and more people trying to sell them.
That too. You know what? There was a lot of space, actually, surprisingly. It was by no means
Dodgers
a
fans
sellout.
ain't loyal.
These hoes ain't loyal.
Yep.
We can say that because even though I like LA, I'm from Tucson.
Why'd you whisper that?
Yeah.
Because that's how I talk, but they probably couldn't hear that, so I said it louder. Yeah. I didn't know. I could probably name you Crenshaw.
Crenshaw.
Kershaw. I could use
You've been
yours.
cities in LA
He's listening to too much Dr. Dre.
My Uber driver went down Crenshaw. I was shitting bricks.
You tried to name one player and still got it wrong.
And Crenshaw was my old boss.
Their star player on the team that he
Kershaw.
traded to.
Kershaw.
Could you have named Kershaw before you went to the game?
Yes.
Is he the only one you could have named?
I could name, first off, Crenshaw Boulevard, and that was also my previous boss. So that name was right there.
Before you went to the game, is Kershaw the only one you could have named?
I could have named him and Puig. That was it. And Puig.
Okay.
Puig.
Okay. Now who can you hopefully you can name all of them. You watched 18 innings of all the 45.
I can name most of them. I'm not gonna. First names I'll probably iffy on. I can name you most of them now. I was remembering the fucking lineup. Like, oh, is this gonna happen next? Oh no, I think it's Billingers. Why the fuck do I know that? But
well, they also normally have it like on the screen 24/7 for you.
Well, yeah, but in between batters, what they would do is to hype up the next guy. They would just show like some of their highlights. They wouldn't have it up until the guy was literally up, and then they showed the lineups. Honestly, just the atmosphere was fucking dope. What I will say is the baseball, the part of me that thought baseball was boring, definitely kicked in after the Dodgers went up 1-0, either second or third. It was early, and then literally just nothing, no action. Dodgers kept getting a lead hitter on base, and of course couldn't finish it. That was cool. Everyone loved that. I think there was even less production from the Red Sox up until the 8th. Yeah, it was the 8th when they. Wow, I already forgot who started. But I remember Jensen, because everyone was like, "What an asshole!" He gave up the one hit. He finished up the 9th, and then they pulled his ass. I want to say so many people pitched. I think Kike Hernandez pitched to one batter. He was there for one batter. I could be wrong, but I could have sworn they called his name. I know he's not a pitcher. I could have sworn.
I don't remember him.
Maybe I was. It could have been someone with a similar last name.
They might have,
because they had him for one batter and then they took him out. I could be wrong, but it was so quick, just one batter, and he got him out. Took him out immediately.
I I don't think he pitched, if I remember right. But I watched to the 17th and I fell asleep. But I think you learned that TJ and I will admit this. Baseball, the season is probably way too long.
Yes.
And there's a part in the regular season where it's like if you lose a game, technically it's like, well, who cares? You have 161 more of them. But in the postseason, so in the NFL, if there's like a fourth down, like to win the Super Bowl, you have a feeling of like excitement for maybe a minute, right? Someone calls a timeout, and then you got 35 seconds shot clock, then the play's over. In baseball, when a guy's up there to bat for like 5 minutes, and like every pitch is like, you just have that. So postseason baseball is still like one of the best things. You have to be in it for a team. Like if you're really are rooting for a team, then it's like one of the best, especially on a playoff run. But
well, I definitely wanted them to win, more so for my dad.
Yeah.
I wasn't gonna go home and see like a baby. But I wanted it for my dad. It wasn't his first Dodgers game. It wasn't his first time at Dodger Stadium, but it was his first World Series game.
Yeah.
It was just so cool. And again, so it's kind of a lull. The Giants get that homer. Then everyone's like all jacked up. Actually, everyone was more scared because I think everyone recognized the Red Sox were a lot better hitting team than the Dodgers. The Dodgers, they, what's the saying? They lived by the homer, they died by the homer, and that was it. If they didn't get a homer, they were going to win. That's all they
That's
wanted.
basically how the series was, yeah.
And so they entered, everyone started chuckling, 10th, 11th, 12th, and then I was like, okay. Then the 13th came around.
Second, 7th inning stretch.
So we're almost there. Because the 13th came around, that's when the Red Sox, they scored.
Yeah.
And then they had that badass play at home where they beamed them out.
Yeah.
That was sick. Everyone was just like, ah. But even I got excited. And then so the 14th came. They got 3 outs quick on the Red Sox. Everyone was jacked up. And then I want to say people were more energetic during the second 7th inning stretch just because how ridiculous it was and because of the timing. Everybody was singing. I mean, those who stayed, I'll say maybe 20% of the stadium that was there left. A lot of young kids there. But so the 14th hit around again, kind of had a little bit of a lull. I think in the 18th, I think you guys on the top of the 18th, you had a batter on first and second. Nothing came of it. And then all of a sudden, Muncy comes up, first batter, and just jacks another homer.
Yeah.
And then everyone just fucking lost it.
That's the ending away for the Dodgers. That was a crazy game. I think that was the one. Alex Cora had pulled all the right strings, pushed all the right buttons the entire postseason. That game though was the one that I think he messed up on because you can't. Obviously, you don't know it's going to go 18 innings, but in a tie game, you can't not have Benintendi and JD Martinez not in the lineup.
Yeah.
Your lineup at that point, you had Moreland, who's more known as defensive first baseman. You don't have Pierce in the lineup either, so your lineup was basically Moreland. Obviously, Betts was still in there. You had Bradley, he had been clutch, but he's not a great hitter. And you had Holt. So there was a part of the lineup, and then you had 2 catchers because you had Vasquez playing first and Leon catching, and neither of them were great hitters. So if you didn't score in your one lineup where it was Betts, Holt, Xander, Bogarts, those 3, I was well, the Red Sox are going to score for 3 more innings because Leon, Vasquez, and the pitcher spot's not going to score.
Yeah, I was you have all these up there taking guts the whole time. Well, taking guts.
So, yeah, he was just counting. He wasn't even swinging. They're just
okay.
Don't get hurt. Yeah. So I think that was the one thing where I said, I think Corvus, he overmanaged that one because Benintendi only had a pinch hit at bat, and then he didn't go into the game. I think he needed to go into the game at that point because he pinched hit, you were already down. Take Jackie out, you need offense. And then they pinch ran for JD, which was always iffy because I hate, it's, I guess if you need to win, but if I was a manager, if the game's tied, and you pinch run, I'd almost leave JD in there just in case you don't score.
Yeah. I think you got to leave at least one of them in that line.
Yeah, you had two of your 3 best hitters. Obviously, Pierce had a great series, but I think on paper, Betts, Benintendi, and JD are your 3 best hitters. Not in the lineup for essentially, Benintendi the entire game, and Martinez from the 8th on for 11 innings. If it wasn't the whole, those 3 people, they weren't going to score. So I think it was the Dodgers game to have. I think Muncy he basically hit a home run.
Yeah, when
that bat
his prior at that. Yeah.
Before that, so
and actually, people who couldn't see, they were going nuts.
Yeah.
Until you see the umpire, and we're all like, ah.
Yeah.
So. And the umpire, I don't know if he was tired. Also, he got progressively shittier.
Yeah.
Even all it was fucking god awful.
Well, yeah. Later in the game, the strike zone just keeps getting wider and wider. He was calling strikes just because he wanted,
Did you throw the ball? That was a strike.
So, but we'll see. It'll be interesting for both teams. The Red Sox core is they're basically going to stay there. I think Eovaldi would be a big sign. They got to figure out the bullpen help during the year. And then the Dodgers have a big question with Kershaw because he can opt out and take money if he wants. And
didn't he say he's going to decide in like 3 days or some shit like that?
he said I guess he has 3 days to decide.
The end of the World Series, yeah. That was technically what they gave him. I don't
So
know.
technically that would have been what they played Sunday. They would have been off Monday. Game 6 would have been tonight. Game 7 would have been tomorrow. So I mean, if you're Kershaw, I think you can technically. I think it's like other sports where you can opt out and still sign with the Dodgers. Like it's not opting out means you can't sign with the Dodgers, but it just did the Dodgers spend all that money and he's pitched in that division for a long time. He's always been the Dodgers. I think he wants to stay there, but they've been there twice, haven't been able to get it done. If he doesn't think,
I think he wants a ring. He's not getting any younger.
yeah, but
the rest of the team wants to
where do you go that can get you a ring that can sign him? I mean, I guess the Yankees. You almost have to go to the Yankees or the Cubs because you'd have to go to a team that has the money to pay you.
I agree. You should go to Chicago.
Of course you do. Of course you do.
Case closed.
So you have to go to a team that has the money to pay you. So it's got to be, it's going to have to be a big time team. I don't see the Red Sox doing it. I mean, to be a third lefty because Price and Sale are both lefties. They have JD. They're going to have to sign, Betts and all their guys to money coming up. So I don't know if they do it. I can see the Yankees or the Cubs vying over him, and then the Dodgers have the money. It's just, I guess for Kershaw, if you want to win a ring, you have to decide for yourself. Do you want to? The American League, no offense, the National League is also harder to pitch in just because you have the DH. You don't get that easy out that you get, most of the time now. So it's kind of what he wants to do, but ultimately, I think he stays with the Dodgers. He just strikes me as a guy that wants to be a Dodger until he's done.
Well, if he wants to keep losing World Series, then that's what he'll do.
They might get over the hump here.
Was Kemp not a DH?
Kemp DH, so there's DHs when they play in Boston. The home team dictates if there's a DH or not. So when you saw the game in LA, that's why the pitchers were batting. The 2 games in Boston, the pitchers didn't have to bat because they all had
Kemp
DHs.
was a DH, yeah, and I was like, I thought NL didn't have it.
Yeah, that was like the problem with the Red Sox is that they have 4 amazing outfielders, but they can only play 3 in LA because 1 couldn't DH. That's like the distinction between the 2 leagues. So,
All right.
well, let's talk about the G League. I had it up here just so I could remember the stat. So basically, the NBA announced that the G League, starting essentially this summer, coming up, 2019, that they would start offering $125,000 contracts to select prospects. They haven't really specified what that means. To allow kids to essentially skip going to college, they can play in the G League and get paid, and then they would be eligible for the draft after 1 year in the G League. I tried to look into details. A lot of it hasn't been decided. There's questions around how do teams select? Is there like a draft process?
Right.
Are all the contracts exactly $125,000? Is $125,000 the max? So let's use Zion Williamson for example. If you were to do that, if it had been this year, how would teams how do you choose him? Is there like a team that gets to draft him to sign him if he wants to do it? Is it just you got to kind of recruit him and he wants to sign with your G League team?
Right.
How many of these people can you have on your team? I don't know what the average G League salary is. I can't imagine it's that much different than that is. I wouldn't guess. But if this is a lot cheaper than the average G League salary, why wouldn't you just sign 10 guys that might be better than people in the G League?
Yeah.
So there's got to be a cap on maybe each team can only have 2 of them, I would think. That'd be, 60 prospects?
Maybe if there's a salary cap and they can afford one.
That's true.
And then the teams will bid on the player pretty much.
Yeah, so the other thing is, too, obviously you then enter the draft. So just because you're on, the Suns G League team doesn't mean that the Suns get your draft rights. It's not like a minor league system. So let's get your thoughts, and then I want to ask you guys some questions that I was thinking about to see what you think.
So, okay. I think it's a viable option for some of these young guys. I don't like it because I think it goes. That's just my own personal stance. I feel like these guys, if they want to showcase their talent and they want to be true competitors, they're going to go into the college realm, where that's where the top level competition is, or at least the top for your age at that point in time. Obviously the NBA being the top of the top. obviously there's a ton of controversy around schools paying recruits and shit like that. I don't think any of us in this room are under any illusion that these big name schools are not paying their recruits to come see them in some way, shape, or form, whether that be through clothing or shoes or phones or whatever, or just outright cash, whatever it may be. It's like a super old school take, I guess. It's like, man, if a school was willing to bring you in, full ride for your athletic talent, like, take advantage of that shit and get a fucking free degree. Like, apply yourself, get some free knowledge, earn a degree as not necessarily a fallback, but at least something so you have some grounds to sustain yourself after your playing career. They're making millions of dollars while they're playing, in the NBA, and theoretically you shouldn't be able to piss that away. But we've seen time and time again how many ex-players, piss away their salaries that they made during their playing days, and now they're on reality TV shows and doing other stupid shit, trying to make up for all the shit they lost. But it's I don't think it's any different than a guy going to Europe to play for a year or two before they come back to play in the NBA if they do end up coming back. And now it's just domesticated. I don't know. I don't think an 18-year-old kid should get $125,000 to play basketball, but then again, younger kids, 18-year-old kids made it when they were coming out of high school to play in the NBA, like Kevin Garnett and Kobe and LeBron.
Yeah. Well, I think it being, just to talk on that real quick, I think it's more enticing because as an 18-year-old, I wouldn't want to leave my family to leave the country to go play. So I think the option that it's now if there's a G League team around where you live, now you can do that instead of having to go to Germany and play.
True.
What do you think, Bill?
I definitely like it, and it's because I think it might make colleges, I guess, less likely to pay them. I don't think it'll solve the whole
less likely to pay them. What do you mean?
I don't think it'll solve the whole coaches paying the teams paying the players. I don't think it'll solve that. But there's a guy who's truly hell-bent on getting paid in college, right, which is his only option. Who's that guy we just talked about? Zion Williams.
Yeah.
Zion Williams. Like, if he truly wants to get paid, then go to that G League. Because the thing is, he can go to this team, like you just mentioned, right? He has Kansas for money. I said no, so he went to Duke. And like you said, does anyone supposedly? But does anyone believe he didn't get something? Right? After he blatantly asked for money for Kansas, they said no, so he said no. Why would he say yes to Duke?
They went Rick Pitino style strippers and the whole nine to get his ass to Duke.
So, but point being, if they say Duke gets caught, Zion is off the hook. He's got his money. He's on to the NBA. He's one and done. It's the school that starts paying the long-term price. We're all three U of A fans, alumni. I don't know if you guys probably should have known that by now. So we're hit pretty hard with this whole Sean Miller thing. Was he going to be our coach? Oh, he is going to be our coach. Now there's other evidence that might tie him. So now we don't know what the hell's going to happen. We're pretty embroiled in all that conversation because it directly affects a man who probably could run and be mayor if he's on. I
mean, if we liked losing in the fucking first round of the tournament every goddamn year. Please don't. Do not put your feet up.
So I like it because it gives those players who are purely seeking money, don't give a shit about schooling. I don't want to say they're bad eggs because they don't want to go to school. They know what they want. Go get your money while you can because you might get screwed for life. But don't entangle a school that could possibly be under investigation and pretty much ruin their next few years or more. If you're in the case of Pitino, you get fired. You want your money, go to the G League. And I think they can also get sponsorship with the G League too, so they don't have to worry about that in college. So I like it because I think it will not cure college scandals, but I think it'll clean some of the more obvious ones up. Like, really, is Duke really not going to be under investigation now? Really?
Yeah. I think what you said is fair because I know we all did very well in school, but if you could have told me that I could make the money I'm making now and not have to go through school, fuck yeah, I'd do that. I did find apparently the average regular G League players make about $35,000 as a base salary for a 5-month season with bonuses, and then if you get called up to the NBA, which is rare, 2-way deals or Exhibit 10 contracts, you can earn more. So, a couple questions. The first one is this: if top players go, let's just say the top 30. So every team gets a DeAndre Ayton, a Zion Williamson, someone like that. Every team gets one. Are you more interested in watching the G League now than before? I think the answer to that is obviously yes.
I think it's my interest in watching it now is like a -1 million. So
yeah,
maybe it's now like a -900,000.
That's what I'm saying. There's no way to go but up. But I think it can only help the G League, right?
Well, yeah. So your question: am I more interested to watch it? Yes. Will I still watch it over college? No.
Okay, fair enough. Do you think college gets worse?
No.
I'm going to say no, only because it's proven that the teams that have won March Madness have been the teams that have had your 3-year, 4-year guys. In some cases, it's your Kentuckys, your Dukes that have a lot of one and dones.
That's what they normally though. They have like Anthony Davis like talents, like once in like a lifetime talents.
But even Anthony Davis didn't stay just for 1 year, or did he?
He did.
He was a one and done.
Oh well.
Yeah. So like I think you're right. I think college basketball doesn't get worse. Granted, I think that the casual fan might tune in. Let me put it this way: the NBA fan will probably tune in less because they're not seeing people that's going to impact their team right away. Like I think people watch Arizona games if you knew your team was going to be shit in the NBA because you knew you had a chance at 8. Like if you weren't a huge college fan, like
maybe.
If you're a Suns fan, whether you like the U of A or not, you might watch the U of A play because you're like, all right, well we're awful, so let's see what this guy does, just so I can watch him. I think though we also live in a college basketball town, so it's a little bit different. Fans always love the 3 to 4 year players that aren't the big names more than the look. Not that we didn't cheer for DeAndre Ayton, but if you ask anybody in Tucson, who do you like more, T.J. McConnell or DeAndre Ayton, T.J. McConnell's going to get every single fucking vote.
Yes.
And he was only here 2 years, but he was a grad transfer, he played his ass off. So I think that's what a lot of people like. I would rather win a national championship with T.J. McConnell on my team than with DeAndre Ayton on my team. Nothing against him, but like you want it more for people like McConnell.
Well, so I do fully agree with what you said there, but McConnell also had so here in Tucson, we have like a local legend, Dick McConnell, high school coach. He's coached players who went up to the NBA. That was his grandson. I think that had a little bit to do, but in general, I definitely agree with what you say. The 3-4 year guys, I'm gonna like more. You didn't know he was his grandson?
No.
You didn't know he was his grandson?
I don't think he was.
I don't study their family tree.
I never
heard that story once.
I don't know if he was, but we'll go with that. Fine, we'll go with that.
For the sake of this podcast, we'll say Bill's right.
Yeah.
I could have sworn he was.
When TJ edits this and we look it up, he'll just put the "you're wrong" in the lettering.
Yeah, I'm just gonna watch out for that message, man. Wrong.
Because I'm pretty sure he's from like the Pittsburgh area where Miller's from.
Well, right, but if he was his father, yeah, that would be weird. But his grandfather.
I guess.
You know what? Pay attention to them. I'm looking at them.
That's fine. Well, so one of the points of disagreement I have with Bill's take is I don't think that this solves the problem or cure. Not to say that you said that, but I think if anything, in college it will get worse before it gets better. I think now that this is an option, colleges will probably try and up the ante and make it more worth their while to come to the college level instead of to the G League.
Well, yeah, because. So, obviously, hearsay. The rumor was that DeAndre Ayton got paid $100,000.
Yep.
The G League payment is now technically more than that. I'm assuming he would have got the $125,000. He was the best player coming out. I'm sure if anyone's going to get it, it would have been him and like people like Zion. So you're right. I think there is a chance where they're like, oh shit, they can make $125. We better offer like $150. We can offer more money
Or some other type of incentive.
Yeah, exactly. The other thing that the players essentially, we talked about their 3 options now, which is. I guess they technically have 4. We're disregarding the JBA because they're not going to do that.
That's a fucking joke. That's what that is.
So they have the G League that they can go. I don't think you get as much, I guess people watching you. I'm trying to think of the word. I can't think of it. Exposure in the G League. Except the wrong way. And what I mean by that is because you're run by essentially an NBA franchise, they have so much more access to you than they do at the college game. Like if you get pissed off in the locker room, we don't see that. They don't see that. Like, the G League teams see that. they have like so much more exposure to your game that I think there's a chance that it could hurt you.
Yeah.
Whereas like in the college game, if you just ball out in your games, like they don't really see the behind the scenes stuff. Like if you're bad at practice, obviously they're going to call the coach, but no coach has ever been like, don't draft DeAndre Ayton, he sucks in practice, he has a horrible attitude. Like no coach is ever going to say that. Also, you'd never get a recruit ever again.
Yeah.
So like as long as they can, fudge their interviews and answer their questions, then you're going to draft them. So there's a lot more exposure in the G League that could hurt you if you choose to go that route. I also think the more exposure, in the college game, I think it's going to be a slow transition. I don't think it's like next summer the top 30 people are all like, oh, we're doing the G League thing. They did come out and said that the NBA was not going to go out and actively pursue people who already had committed to schools, but that it was an option if they wanted to decommit, which I think is the right thing to do. But in 2020, we'll see. I think it's going to be kind of a wait and see game, and it's going to have to be someone. Does LaMelo Ball do it? I would think. The problem is that if you leave the JBA I think essentially is going to be done. Because the NBA just basically took your whole thing. Yeah. It just flipped it and tripled the money you're paying them.
Yeah.
So I think, but it's going to take one of these classes coming up in the next 4 or 5 years. The top 3 guys are going to have to do that before we see a big wave. Because if the top guys keep going to college, no one's going to go to the G League to play just the people in the G League.
Right.
You want to play the top guys, so that's why you're going to go. So, we'll see. Also, I think college has been such a staple for a long time. A lot of kids grow up wanting to play in an Arizona jersey or a Duke jersey or a North Carolina jersey. No one grows up wanting to play in the fucking Cedar Rapids, whatever their team is, jersey. You want to play for Duke. You want to play for Kentucky. You want to play for North Carolina. You want to play for Louisville. You want to play for all these teams. So it's is $125,000, really worth it when you think about it? Maybe it is for some. I get it. That a lot of these kids don't come from the greatest of family situations, and you can use the money. I think college still pays them something.
Well, exactly. They're getting something from the colleges. You get the exposure that we're talking about. Because the G League, again, even for a primetime NBA fan.
I
couldn't remember there being a teacher Dick McConnell article just out there ready to go.
Hey, we were entertaining it.
Thanks.
But the exposure thing, it's even a huge NBA fan doesn't fucking watch the G League. Regardless of there being a $125,000 guy in it or not. He doesn't even watch it now. It's yes, this potentially sparks more interest in it. But again, you're watching, these guys are on ESPN, CBS. We have all the conference tournaments that happen, all over the country. Then you have what I consider the best postseason tournament in any sport in March Madness. It's it gets all types of crazy hoopla going around the country. It's and they want to see these teams play in these brackets. And they want to see those star guys on those teams lead their teams through the gauntlet that is March Madness. You don't get that type of shit in the G League.
That's exactly what I was about to say. I was they're still not going to show the G League games on TV. Out of sight, out of mind. Who the fuck cares?
Well, I think that'll change depending on who goes. If
so they would have to.
Every time watching ESPN, there's a Zion Williamson just playing at the YMCA highlight. So it's if he's playing in the G League, they're going to show his game.
That's all well and cute, and then his 30 cousins and brothers and sisters or whatever that watch him at the YMCA, they'll have a good time. and we'll watch the 30-second highlight on sports. I don't know who gives a shit. We want to watch him day in and day out. Playing his 2 games a week at a big-time school like Duke, fucking putting up highlight reel dunks and blocks. He had a block in his first game. God, I thought he was a teabagged kid.
Well, I think
it was ridiculous.
Yeah. I think for the NBA, it was a smart move because you basically have nothing to lose.
Yeah.
You're not paying any money. You just gave an option to make the G League better.
Yeah.
I've always been, I've kind of been in a thing that I wouldn't mind the one and done being gone. And I think, I've kind of held, I get the argument against it, but I've kind of held the baseball rule where you either go pro after high school, which is fine if you want to do that, but if you go to college, you're playing 3 years. And then you make that decision. Because that's what it is in college baseball. I don't know if you know, Bill, but you can get drafted and play in the minors out of high school, or if you go to college, you have to play 3 years.
I don't know all the rules of baseball. You think I do that?
Well, so I think that is...
T.J. McConnell was Dick McConnell's grandson.
That's true. It's true.
I still like him, but that would be cool.
So, but I think that's a more viable option because, granted, there's been high school players that have come out, and they went to the NBA and they didn't perform. They're all going to be that. LeBron didn't need to go to college. Kobe didn't need to go to college.
KG.
Like, all these players, they didn't need to go. Like, why are we making them do 1 year? If they want to go pro, let them go pro. They're 18. We let them do basically everything else except drink.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't
which they're
disagree.
definitely going to do that in college. So,
Yeah.
like,
While they're getting paid.
and then if you go to college, you know, hey, I'm here 3 years. I don't have to worry about the draft. So if you're shitty your freshman year, it's not like it, or like it just brings more stability, I think, to teams, and I think there's more parity because the top schools aren't getting the same phenomenal recruits every year just for 1 year, and then their eligibility's gone.
Yeah.
Like you're locked in. If this guy comes for 3 years, you better really make sure you want him because unless he transfers, like you got him for 3 years.
Yeah.
Well, and also to add on, I thought, because I read some articles on it too, that they were also in partners with some universities. I mean, it's a development program. They're not just developing you for the NBA. You have other options that they're giving you to go. So I think the smart play, like if you really want to take advantage of the system, go to the G League, get your 125K, then go to college. I would imagine you don't lose that year of eligibility because you never went to college. So you could do that, play your four, get your degree. You don't have, no one's gonna, even if they do pay you, no one's gonna accuse you of it because you already got 125 G's from this. I don't know if there'll be rules, like if they get a sponsorship in the G League, whether it follows them or whether they won't be eligible to go to college, whether they have to lose it because they don't have those things in college. But if you really want to play the system, you could go there. They prep you for university. You go play ball there. Get your
The problem is, I don't think you can do the G League and then go back to college because I think the G League they technically deem professional, and once you play professional, you can't play.
Well, I thought they were trying to get rid of that rule. Where like if you get an agent, you're automatically ineligible for college. I thought they were going to get rid of that.
Well, they got rid of that rule. They're getting rid of that where you can declare for the draft with an agent, and if you don't get drafted, you can still go back to college. But that's different. Once you sign a professional contract, which is what you would do with the G League, you can't go play college. So you wouldn't be able to go back, unfortunately. So that's
I still think you could take advantage of it. You get your money, pretty much pay your own way through college, and you don't have no debt. Then again, most players who go to the G League want to go to the NBA. I don't see many people doing it that way. But I'm like, well, shit. I mean, why? I was gonna say why not, but because you can make millions in the NBA. But
we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I'm curious.
Let's do our week 8.
Or week 8 was I was saying
I can bring it up if you want.
All right, so let's recap. Week 8, another interesting week of football.
Well,
Tight games.
I've got it.
Oh, boom, go.
So Thursday night was Texans and Dolphins. Texans win 42-23. I think Watson threw for 5 touchdowns. Or had 5 touchdowns. Yeah, threw for 5.
Finally looked good.
Texans are in first place. I think they're the Texans team that we thought they would be finally.
Yeah, they're finally starting to put it together.
So, then Sunday morning, the Eagles beat the Jags 24-18. Jags just haven't looked good. They're just in shambles.
Told you.
I don't know. Did they have like an injury in the defense?
I just think, I honestly think that they're just playing demoralized because their offense is just so bad.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I was telling TJ, defense is pretty heavily relies on your special teams and your offense. If they put you in shit positions, your numbers are going to be awful.
Well, the problem is that they put them in shit positions. The Jaguars probably go 3 and out so much that the defense gets a 30-second break and they're right back out there. And it's like, why am I going to bust my ass to hold them under 10 when we're going to score fucking 3? So I think it's just frustration all around. I'm sort of shocked they didn't trade for a quarterback.
Real quick, on the trade talk. Texans just picked up Demaryius Thomas.
Yep.
Just talked
For
about
basically
that.
a 4th rounder because they swapped 7s.
And then the Eagles just picked up Golden Tate.
For a 3rd.
Both big receiver changes. They're going to bolster those offenses a lot. I'm curious to see what type of impact it has.
I think the problem with the Texans, though, is more their running game.
I agree.
I think their passing game was firing all cylinders. You have one of the best receivers in the game. You had a good number 2 in Fuller.
He's out for the year now, which will help getting Thomas.
Oh, well, then that might be.
So, yeah, he was out for the year, but they had, I don't know, is his last name Coutee, the rookie? It's like Coutee. It's like
Coutier?
Is that how you say it? Or
No
you just
idea.
saying everything in
Cool.
French?
Yeah. The second one.
French
But Coutee sounds wrong. I want to say it's not that.
So, it might be Cody or whatever. But they had him, but I think, Fuller going down, they get Thomas, that helps. Other people that got traded, Clinton Dix got traded to the Redskins. Bills Rams got Dante Fowler from the Jaguars. Ty Montgomery went to the Ravens. And I think that was it. I don't think I missed anyone else that I saw. At least big name that got traded.
Yeah, those are the big ones today.
I think we were talking about before we started. I think the biggest losers after today, even though they didn't do anything today, is the Cowboys because they traded a first rounder for Cooper, and I think 3 receivers better than him got traded today for less.
Yep. Well, not all today.
I guess Josh Gordon was earlier. Yeah. So
3 receivers in total have been traded this season for less than what the Cowboys gave up for Amari Cooper. That's sad.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting how Demaryius Thomas does. He was phenomenal when Manning was there. Obviously, when Manning could sling, he's been okay this year. With Keenum there. So.
Yeah, I think he was a victim of the quarterback position. Ever since Manning left, they have not done anything with that position.
And as good as Manuel Sanders is, he plays the slot. So Thomas has always been the number one guy. And now that's going to be Hopkins. So you're getting the number 2 corner on all those teams.
Yeah.
So we'll have to see how he does. He is 30 though, so it's not like he's
young.
Yeah, he's not young, but we'll see what happens. So that'll be a big trade. And then the Broncos played the Chiefs. It's actually closer than I thought.
I agree with that. Broncos kept it close.
Chiefs beat the Broncos 30-23 in Arrowhead. Chiefs, I don't know who's going to beat the Chiefs, except for maybe Bills Rams.
New England, the team that already beat them.
That's true. But as of right now, it's looking like the Chiefs will have home field advantage. And playoffs.
Yeah, they scared the shit out of me because even if you figure out Holmes, you still Mahomes. You still got Hunt, Kelsey, Hill. Fucking Sammy Watkins is like their 3rd or 4th receiver. He was a former first rounder.
Yeah.
Who's the other one? I want to say Crowder, but isn't he on the Redskins?
They have Conley.
I thought they had somebody else.
Crowder is on the Redskins.
Yeah. And then you have Steelers beat the Browns 33-18. I don't think there's any shock there.
Except for maybe on the end over here.
Browns
shit.
You had hope, and then
they just fired their head coach and their offensive coordinator.
Yeah. But you know what? That team is the only team I will say that don't have a player problem, don't have a coach problem. They have a front office problem. Those owners, there's a reason why they've been dumped.
60-year-old guys on the field chucking shit on everything.
They're the reason why that team has been dumped since John. It has to be the owners. Who else is to blame? They have like a million different starting QBs, a million different coaches. It's the owners. I don't even know how they could affect it that bad, but they're doing something wrong.
I don't disagree they're doing something wrong, but I can't say that they're the ones to blame.
Really?
So yeah, we'll see what happens. It's going to be...
Even the shit
You have a team that doesn't win a game for 2 fucking years, and you're going to tell me that owners are the ones to blame? You're fucking guys
in 2 years,
millions of dollars that they can't fucking win one game?
The last time they went to the playoffs,
they can't win it.
The last time they went to the playoffs was Derek fucking Anderson. We were in high school. That is over 10 years ago.
The old dude sitting
over 10 years ago. Not winning.
Is to blame for his fucking players that can't win one game in 2 years.
Yes, because that's also the same.
Are they playing?
That is also the same front office that fired a coach after 1 season. What the fuck did you think was going to happen in 1 season?
You should watch
They're
soccer.
Stupid.
See how fast they get sacked.
I'll watch MLB over the my God. So I can watch grown men get tapped on the shoulder. Ah! Give me a break.
Well, they win games more frequently than the Browns.
Don't make fun of the quarterback position.
Well, fair enough.
Oh!
Don't make fun of the quarterback position?
Yeah. He gets tapped on the shoulder. Just fucking fall down.
That's because they're smart.
That's true.
Oh, so are soccer players.
Soccer players are pussy. Ever since that World Cup where that guy got bit in the shoulder by Suarez and he just went down, I was like, are you serious? Is that your initial reaction to every time someone touches you? If that guy was a man, he would have clocked that boy in the face. In any sport, someone bites you. Had Rajon Rondo bit Chris Paul. Rondo bit Chris Paul.
Rondo! His name is Rondo!
Rajon Rondo. Had he bit Chris Paul, spitting's the next worst thing. Had he bit Chris Paul, Chris Paul was in... I disagree.
Spitting is the ultimate sign of disrespect.
Both of them are going to give you AIDS. One of them hurts more.
Okay.
Chris Paul had every right to clock him in the face, and he bit him. Spitting, that's pretty bad. A push would have been fine, which he did. But that dude that got bit by Suarez goes down like a little pansy. No. Someone bites you on the shoulder in a sporting event, you teach them a lesson, you pop them in the face.
Alright, well, let's fly through the rest of the
I didn't get to
individual
soccer. That
soccer
was your
tangents.
fault.
Redskins beat the Giants 20-13. I don't think there's any shock there except for Bill, who picked the Giants. Seahawks beat the Lions 28-14. Bengals beat the Bucks 37-34. Fitzmagic came back and almost had Fitzmagic and almost he brought them back and tied the game. The Bengals had to kick a game-winning field goal to win it.
We're going to take the win out of Winston. He's just Jameson.
Jameson. No, his first name and last name are just combined. He's like Seal. He just has one name.
He'll get the win back when he starts winning.
Well, he did one game last week.
No.
Against the Browns.
I think TJ said Fitzmagic was named the starter, right?
Yep.
God, that's hilarious. He's going to throw another 5 picks. Jameis Winston's going to lose, and they're going to suck again.
So,
sorry, James.
Bears beat the Jets 24-10.
Yep. Good game.
Panthers beat the Ravens 36-21. I think I was shocked the Panthers put up that many points.
Panthers' offense is looking good. Now that they got Greg Olsen back, that's like Cam's favorite weapon. You know, he's like I feel like he's compared to like how Witten and Romo were for a lot of years with the Cowboys. Just safety net. You just know it's like a guaranteed completion every fucking time you throw it.
And then back-to-back to the battle of number one pick chances. Colts beat the Raiders. Cardinals strung a game-winning drive together to beat the 49ers, and the fans are probably like, no! The one time you got pissed off your team for a game-winning touchdown in under a minute. Rams beat the Packers in the Rams' toughest game yet, 29-27.
Suck it, Tuckers. Sick of your shit.
Heads-up play by the Rams to get the fumble on the kickoff because they did not want to see Rodgers in a 2-minute offense.
No, they did not.
I don't want to see...
Only with a 2-point lead as well.
I don't want to see Rodgers with a 9-point lead.
Yeah. 2-point lead, he only needs to get the field goal range in 2 minutes. Like, you guys would have been in trouble, but you got the turnover, that's what matters. Saints beat the Vikings Sunday night in Minnesota. Saints are just looking like better and better each week.
Oh, man. They're looking scary. They're looking real scary. So.
What's scarier is I think no one's giving them any respect because they started 0-1 and then just went on a tear these next 6-7 games.
I think people have felt like the Saints have just been the team that could always score points. They just couldn't stop a team from scoring points. And the way they scored points was just to throw it repeatedly. And I think this year is the first year in a while where they can control the game by running it somewhat, and their defense isn't absolutely awful.
Yeah, it's like they have a pretty solid defense. It's holding teams like the Vikings who have been putting up some points recently. Holding them to 20.
And then the Pats beat the Bills Monday night 25-6. This game was closer than it ended up.
Yeah.
It was like 9-6 in the late third quarter when we were like checking on it. So,
But no, that's just Belichick going, you want to win? You want to win? You got to be quicker than that.
Although the Bills have no chance of winning going forward because Derek Anderson is now hurt. and Peterman will be starting.
Oh my God.
Peterman will be starting while he's hurt.
So Bills.
That is terrifying as a Bills fan.
All right, so this week coming up, Thursday night. God, this game is awful. 1-6 Raiders at the 1-7 49ers. 49ers are favored by 3.
The last Battle of the Bay. Actually, you know what I heard? I heard something about they didn't pay their dues to UNLV, so they gave them the middle finger for next season. So they're actually going to stay in Oklahoma season. Is there any validity to that?
I did not hear that, but I didn't hear anything against it, so maybe that's true.
That's hilarious, because that's going to be the most awkward season for them ever. Like, hey guys, want to come to our game one more season? So what I was getting at is going to be last Battle of the Bay, which actually it should, because we're not going to play that division next year. There you go. Go Wild! Oakland is going to be your last game against the Niners as an Oakland Raider.
So as of right now, these two teams are one. I think the Colts and the Cardinals both have 2 wins now. The Giants have 1 win, so these might be.
The Colts have 3 wins.
Do they?
I think so.
So the Raiders, 49ers, and the
Colts do?
Giants, the only teams with 1 win?
Raiders, Niners,
Let's check real quick.
Giants.
Let's
Yeah,
look.
Browns
We've got the
have
Oakland
2.
with 1 win, the Giants with 1 win, and the 49ers with 1 win. So yeah, those are the only 3 teams that only have 1 win. So if you're the 49ers, if you're the Raiders, I'm tanking. Because I don't know if what he said is true, maybe it is true. But if it's not true, I think it'd be kind of cool to have the number 1 overall pick going into Vegas.
Be your Mario Williams.
What?
Well, that was Texans. But Mario Williams.
Oh, yeah. I get what you're saying.
I think
because of that, and I just don't believe in just anything the Raiders are doing, I'm going to go 49ers.
Yeah, it pains me to say that, but the Raiders are just fucking awful. I'm taking the Niners.
Well, going off who should, suck for luck, so to speak, I think you want to tank as the Niners. Because you're going to get your starting running back, starting QB, add a top receiver on your first round pick. Well, that's pretty pricey for a receiver, but...
And that won't be too hard since all of Alabama's receiving core will go pro, and they're all fucking amazing.
There you go. Just have a...
Yeah, but they won't take a receiver number one. Like, if you have the number one pick and you want a receiver, you trade that
to go
a 5 or 6 spot and then get like a late second or something. Yeah. Or third.
But who's the home game?
49ers.
There you go. So that was a coin flip.
And Sunday morning we got the Bears at the Bills. Do we even need to talk about it?
No.
The Bears are going to play Peterman. If the Bills score a point, I will be shocked.
Yeah, there was talk because Mac didn't play against the Jets, and they were like, oh, they tried to give him a go in practice, but they just didn't think he was 100%. I was like, that was code for the Jets are fucking balls, and we're just going to rest him.
Yeah.
And they're probably going to give him another week of rest against the Bills because there's no need for him to play against fucking Nate Peterman.
You guys have already had your buys, so yeah.
Bears.
All right, so we're all on Bears. Then we got the Bucks at the Panthers. Even with Fitzmagic coming back, I'm going Panthers.
Yeah, Carolina's starting to look really good. Their offense is rolling. I'm taking them.
Yeah, Panthers.
Just because we missed it, the Bears are favored by 9.5. The Panthers are favored by 6.5. We've got some lopsided games this week. Chiefs at the Browns. Chiefs favored by 8.5. I'm going Chiefs.
Yeah, it's going to be a Mahomes run derby. That's for sure.
Trap game. No, I'm just kidding. I'll go Chiefs.
I was like, don't you fucking dare say trap game.
Well, this will be
when they called it, they won.
This will be the one game the Browns are going to win, and we'll just never hear the other people.
God.
You will not.
Miles Garrett will just have like 87 sacks.
That's what it's going to take.
On the sack of literally every play. Jets at the Dolphins.
Oh.
Dolphins favored by 3. Tannehill might be back this week. I'm going to go Dolphins just because they're at home and the Jets are awful.
Jets are awful, but I don't like Miami. I'm taking Jets.
Quick tangent question. If you had to be a Browns or a Jets fan, which fan would you rather be?
Jets.
I'd rather be a Browns fan, honestly.
I would only say Browns only because when you finally hit that peak of like, at some point they have to hit a turnaround season. Like, wow.
That's what I feel like when you get more than 2 wins. It's just a climax when they're good in 20 years.
It's like when they do have that like one turnaround season where they like make a run and like potentially win the Super Bowl. That is going to be like the most just jizz-worthy moment in their life. It's going to be like the Cubs winning, after the 108-year drought. Like that's how it's going to feel for the Browns when they finally get something to. And they win more than like 5 games a year. They're just like, oh my god.
I'm hoping Jets because right now they have their future QB, so they're probably more stable.
The Browns don't. They literally drafted theirs ahead of the Jets' future QB.
Yeah, but
somebody said he won't be
2 something and something.
Oh yeah, that was me. Because he's
also
bald.
2 something and they got Tigers Pittsburgh, but now you lose your coach. You just set that kid back another year or 2. You already fucked up his career, and that's going Browns.
You never know.
There's another casualty.
Year or 2 when he's not good.
I'm not saying anything.
Maybe the Browns find the next Sean
because
McVay.
the Browns organization, they could. It's not gonna be Sean McVay.
Obviously, but
Well, when they come like call him with that cash, he's gonna be like, yeah, fuck it.
You know what I wanted to put on our page? I wanted to put like Browns looking for new coach, and then literally like that meme of all those dudes just running away. That's what I wanted to put. I don't know how to make memes.
Wait, didn't you say the meme was already in existence?
No, I was gonna make it.
Oh.
I'm sure someone already did now.
Did you try Google? Or did you just go, I don't know how to manufacture this myself from hand. I think I'm going to not do it.
Pretty much that.
Okay.
Nice.
Meme maker or just meme generator, I'm sure you could probably just find something. Effort. It sucks. Steelers at the Ravens. Ravens favored by 3. Ravens are now 4-4. I'm going to go Steelers.
I'll take Steelers as well.
Alright. So far, we're all basically in agreement except for the fucking Jets-Dolphins game. What you doing, Jets?
Yes.
You know.
You two pick Miami. I pick the Jets.
I'll make that clear.
Lions at the Vikings. Vikings favored by 5. I'm going Vikings. They're 4-3-1. They need a division win bad. And Elijah just got rid of Golden Tate. So their trio receivers now just went to a duo of receivers.
Yeah, I'm going to take Minnesota. I like them at home.
And
What always weighs on my mind is they lost to the Bills. So they could just spontaneously lose to anybody. But the safe bet is obviously the Vikings.
Yeah.
The Vikings.
Just Thielen's just playing so good. Just throwing the ball just anywhere in his vicinity, he's going to catch it. Falcons at the Redskins. Redskins here by 1.5. I'm going to go Falcons. I think they need a win. I think they score enough points that the Redskins offense can't keep up. I think Julio Jones finally scores.
I am not taking money on that, but
Julio Jones watch. Calling it now.
You can start that sweet.
yeah, I'm taking Skins.
I'm taking Redskins also. Falcons, fuck, I don't know what the hell their problem is. They just can't. This is not their season.
I think the best wide receiver in the league can't find the fucking end zone. That's their problem.
And we got Texans at the Broncos, so Demaryius Thomas doesn't even have to leave his house. He just has to show up in the away locker room.
Who are we playing next week, coach? I'll stay.
So
Texans at Broncos.
I'm going to go Texans. I think, obviously, Demaryius Thomas is going to need a little time getting adjusting, but the Broncos now have one less weapon against a very good Texas defense. I do like Phillip Lindsay for the Broncos, and hopefully they might rely on him a little more now that they won't, Demaryius Thomas' receptions have to go somewhere. And obviously they have Sutton that they're going to play, but...
I'm going to take Denver, actually. They're at home. I like their defense.
You're going to Denver?
Yeah, they just played a good game with Kansas City. They kept it closer than a lot of people think they
They are favored by a point.
I'm going to go Denver.
I'm gonna go Houston.
So am I.
I don't like Denver's offense. And that defense, sure they got Von Miller. That's not what it was. I think people forget that.
Good game. Chargers at the Seahawks. A lot of people think the Chargers are the real deal, considering their 2 losses, I believe, are the Rams and the Chiefs.
You are correct.
Who are arguably the 2 best teams in football right now. Seahawks favored by 1.5. Seahawks are just always so tough at home.
Yeah, they're a bitch to play in Seattle.
I'm going to go Chargers because I'm going to believe the hype that they're the real deal with their 2 losses being the teams that they are. And I don't know if Seattle's defense is as good as it has been in previous years. It's good, but they're younger and they're not the Legion of Boom anymore.
Yeah, I like the Chargers. I think they do have enough to get over the hump against Seattle playing at home, taking LA.
Yep. I am taking the Chargers as well. Please be the Seahawks and knock them down.
So the next 2 games, I'm going to preface this. I like that on Sunday nights, most of the time they're flex games, so they can basically put any game on Sunday night. They need to do that with Mondays also, because these next 2 games deserve to be prime time. Even though my Titans are Monday night, they shouldn't be Monday night when these 2 games are. So the last afternoon game is Rams at the Saints. That game should be Monday night, because the game Sunday night deserve to be there. Sunday night, we'll just skip it real quick, is the Packers and the Patriots. So those 2 games should be Sunday and Monday night. The Titans-Cowboys game that's Monday should be just your normal Sunday afternoon game.
Yeah.
They need to flex the Monday nights, but I don't think ESPN, I think they pick their schedule in advance. They don't flex anything there. So, Rams at the Saints.
Damn.
Saints here by 1.5.
This one's
Really?
tough.
Yeah.
Saints are at home.
1.5.
Well, to be honest with you, normally they say at home you get 3 points. So anytime that a team is under 3 points at home, Vegas really thinks that the away team's going to win. Because they normally say home is an automatic 3 points. If that makes sense. That's why the Broncos are by only a point at home. I think the Titans are going to win. That's why a lot of these other spreads, it's like New England's like 5.5, but that's because they're at home. So, oh man, I'm gonna go Saints. If I think this is the first time this year I picked against your Rams, but I'm gonna go Saints. They look really good. The Rams looked beatable. Now they still won, but they looked beatable against the Packers. I think the Saints have a better defense than the Packers. I think the Saints have a better offense than the Packers. Aaron Rodgers is probably a little bit better than Breeze, but Breeze is also a Hall of Fame quarterback himself, so I'm going to go Saints.
I know for a fact this is the first time I've picked against LA, but I'm taking New Orleans as well. New Orleans is putting up points, and we've talked about this week in and week out. And correct me if I'm wrong. I think the Rams have given up 25 plus in like 5 or 6 straight.
Oh yeah.
Their defense is not good, and I don't think there's a single team in the league that wants to get into a shootout with the Saints.
They have not given up 25 straight, but we'll go through it. So, first game of the year, they gave up 13 to the Raiders, and they shut out the Cardinals, so we'll skip those.
So the joke teams, they gave up nothing.
23 to the Chargers, 31 to the Vikings, 31 to the Seahawks, 20 to the Broncos, 10 to the 49ers, and then 27 to the Packers.
Defense has been shaky. I'm taking New Orleans.
To put it this way, here's the split on ESPN of everyone that's voted. 49.8% exactly for both teams, with 0.4% people guessing it'll be a tie.
This is a fucking phenomenal game. I really want to watch this one.
Rams.
You going Rams?
I'm going Rams. First of all,
He's gonna pick the Rams all 16 teams.
I picked them to
16
lose.
He picked
against
them to lose and
Minnesota.
they won, yeah.
It's Minnesota.
Oh, that's
Close
true.
game.
He
That's
did pick
true.
them to lose.
You're right.
I picked them to lose.
He was the only one of the people to lose that week.
Oh, that's right.
It was. Yeah. First of all, people saying, "Oh, the Divas is a liability." Divas has been a liability. I knew they were a liability since our third game against the Chargers. Once I saw what Rivers could do up and down the field with Talib was still in the game. Yeah, pretty sure he was. When he could do that to our supposed all-star DBs of Peters and Talib, I knew we were in trouble. I knew we were in more trouble when both of them went down with injuries. Either Peters is still hurt or something, I don't know. The dude himself has given up at least 5 or 6 touchdowns. Just himself. I've known the Divas has been liability since day one. The thing I've always said is, if we just have a bad offensive day, we're going to lose. Guaranteed. We're going to lose. Saints D, consistent at best. I wouldn't say it's good or great. I think it's going to be a shootout, and I think that we win.
Fair.
I think that we win. And hopefully Fowler makes more of an impact than I hope. As in, he gets sacks again.
How much are you hoping for? If you're hoping for nothing, then it'll be a lot more than that.
I actually was hoping for nothing.
Why would you hope?
Because with Seward Donald, relative to them two, I figured he wouldn't do much.
You're thinking, but you would. Hopefully, you're not hoping that he does
I'm thinking he wouldn't do much. I'm hoping he contributes to the second.
There you go.
There, whatever.
You should remember the Saints also got Eli Apple, so now they have Eli Apple and Lattimore at corners. Are you guys getting Cooper Kupp back this week? We'll see.
Okay, he is probable.
Okay.
I don't know
You
what
are
that
probably going to lose.
All right.
Packers at the Patriots. Patriots here by 5.5. Packers just got rid of who I think is their best defensive player in Clinton Dix, so I'm going Patriots.
Patriots are at home?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm not picking against Brady and Belichick in Gillette Stadium. No way.
Haha, gets the last laugh. I'm going Patriots.
Well, not really, because he was the Redskins. So, but and then Monday night
in their division probably has a better chance of going to the playoffs than Packers. Not by much, but then the Packers. Only because NFC East is doo-doo.
I'm confused by what you said.
I think Clint Dix has more of a chance to see the playoffs than he did when he was on the Packers.
You can see the playoffs anytime, just even if it's home watching on TV.
Going to be in it, only because NFC East is doo-doo and Packers actually have real competition. And the Bears, when Trubisky is ahead of his ass.
I think the Redskins are in first place anyway, so.
They are. Well, yeah.
You're probably correct. So Patriots, you're going Patriots.
Patriots.
All right. And then Monday night, Titans at the Cowboys. Cowboys favored by 6.5. I'm going Titans just because I don't want to pick the Cowboys.
I don't want to pick the Cowboys either, but the Titans blow. So
Both teams are 3 and 4.
I'll pick the Dallas.
First time I'm going to see Cooper. I'm hoping they use him. And he's not Cooper.
Standard.
I'm going with Dallas.
Standard fantasy team.
He is on my fantasy team.
You must have the worst fantasy team ever to be
I
assembled.
was praying for him to get out of freaking Oakland.
Everyone's on your fantasy. Every time we think about someone being dumb, he's on your fucking fantasy team. Like, if you want to get
Well, I
in
have
here,
3. Very few. I have 3 fantasy teams.
Jesus, they're all shit.
2 of them are actually for real money, but on one of those 2, I have.
Which one is those? Is Monopoly?
Yeah, which one's for
The other one for Monopoly money, you're probably a better team, of course.
So, all right, close this out.
Oh, all right.
I like how you had your arm around Tina and was like 45 minutes.
Casting couch. All right. Well, that wraps it up for episode 9. Thanks for listening, guys. As always, please like, subscribe, follow us, slide into the DMs. We appreciate it. Let us know if you want to hear anything specific from us. I know Ben has been working pretty diligently on getting all of our records together for all of our NFL season picks. So we'll try and get a graphic together and put those out for what our records were for like the week specifically, and then for the overall season. Thus far, shocker, I have the best record of the season. We'll tweet that out here shortly.
60, 26, and 1. And I'm 57, 29, and 1. Bill is 56, 30, and 1.
The guy with the shittiest fantasy team has the shittiest record.
Granted, we didn't pick weeks 2 and 4. That's why our records aren't going to match up. And some of the weeks we didn't pick Thursday nights because we used to record like on the weekends. So,
regardless, Bill for shit. I have the best advice. Listen to me. But we appreciate it, and we'll see you guys next week.